I'm online now. OBS started as administrator. Now it's showing a black screen when it should actually show basically OBS. Let's see. So I'm online again. Title is correct, but it's still a black screen. How unsatisfying. There's no other option that I can select. I can only try to add other sources, but there isn't really a better source. Let me try the options of window capture. If I go to window capture, if I select command.exe, it selects the message, just the message box basically. Or I can switch to, yes, okay, so at least I can stream the content of the main window of the game. Guess it's better than nothing. Wait, I have an idea. I can add a second window capture. And I will name it message capture. And okay, so now I have two sources for the two windows of the same game. Now you have the complete picture. You have the main window plus the message. What happens if I close the message? Let's try it out. So I'm going back into the game. Now see everything that I can see. Except of course my message is somewhere else on the screen. You will see it, but doesn't matter. Now let's see what happens if I close my message. Going to read it quickly. Good morning. Today you will impersonate the commander of Ramat David Air Base in northern Israel, and you will learn how to intercept and engage an airborne target. You have 6 F-16I Sufa, 2 Gulfstream G550, aerial early warning, Nashon, 2 707 Saknai tankers, and 2 Hermes 900 Star UAV under your command. So, for those who are new to this, this is a game that I got about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I intend to show all my gameplay on it, similar to maybe Hearts of Iron 3 that I do, just showing how I go through all the tutorials and hopefully later through some more advanced and more interesting scenarios. Now let's see what happens if I close the message. Closing it. Serving the screen on YouTube, the stream. Okay, so you can see the rest. I think it's fine, we can work. It's happen. Open message. Yeah, you can't see that if I go into the message. Oh yeah, you can see. Okay. Now I'm gonna go out of my own stream. I think it'll work. Check with the chat app from time to time, so you can see what's going on. All right, I'm sending a message to chat myself. On my side, Restream.io indicates that messages went to both YouTube and Twitch. So hopefully you will see this. All right, let's get into this. Yeah, so the air assets are the same as in the previous two training scenarios, or tutorials as they are called. We have the tankers, we have some fighter bombers, the F-16, and we have the UAVs, the Hermes 900 drones. Wonderful. Now let's see what's going on. We haven't gotten an order basically, or a task assigned, so I'm just gonna go and unpause simulation, and I think they will I will get a message basically telling me what to do. I think whenever a message pops up, the game the simulation pauses automatically. Now, hopefully, you automatically see the message. Check quick. Do I have to source for each message, or right now I don't see it on live stream? Is each of those messages a unique window? If that's the case, I will add a source for the message log instead. Yeah, I think you can't see it. Okay. In this case, but you can see the message log all the time. Okay, so I'm gonna. Yeah, okay, so that specific source for the message windows is useless because each message is displayed in a window with its unique identity. So OBS Streamlabs is not going to be able to display it properly. But when I open the message log, you can always see the messages. So that was the first one. This one I didn't really get on screen myself. You can ignore it. It's just, I guess, some internal stuff that doesn't really matter. And then the second message was "Good morning today." Sorry, the second message is this one. So the newer messages are on top, the older messages are at the bottom. An Iranian-built Shahed 129 UAV is flying from Syria to Israel. We don't want them to collect intelligence over our state, so the intruder must be destroyed. To accomplish this goal, you will need to use the knowledge gained in the two previous tutorials. To intercept an enemy airplane, you can choose to assign some airplanes to an anti-air warfare mission over in an area that will be crossed by the bogey. Bogey is, I believe it's NATO speech or NATO code for enemy. Or manually direct the fighters to the enemy plane. The choice is yours. Okay, wait. So we'll use the knowledge training gained from the previous tutorials, and then we have two options. To intercept an enemy airplane, we can either assign airplanes to anti-air warfare mission over a specific area. Obviously it would make sense to put that area somewhere in the vicinity and the course of the enemy, or we can manually direct the fighters to the enemy plane. Alright. Okay, so we have an airbase, we have air assets. Right click, I can move the map. This is my airbase, I believe, or I'm at David. By the way, I went to Google Earth and checked it out. It's basically the same thing on Google Earth. You can see the same map. It's a great tool here. We're using a realistic world map, realistic geography, distances, everything. We're playing on a curved Earth, not on some sort of map projection like in most other strategy games. It's brilliant, and I've read a bit about this game. So apparently a lot of NATO officers, actual military commanders, members of staffs of military units in NATO use this game or this simulation command modern operations to train realistically the computer. Okay, so we have our airbase. We can select we can here we can create missions. Somewhere we can go to our own assets that we control. I remember this, pressing F6. But now when I press F6 I don't see anything, so I guess F6 only works if I have probably the airbase selected. Okay, if I click on the airbase I can press F6 and then I can either access my air facilities, which is basically the infrastructure, or I can access the tactical assets, which is the planes in this case. In a different scenario, I suppose it could be a naval unit or a ground unit. Although I know very little about the actual ground combat. Alright, so we have the air assets here. Right now we are looking at the two Gulfstream G550 air early warning, Notion Atom CAE W. Those are, now if I click on this somewhere, thought I could get specific information on the aircraft. I can click on Doctrine, but this is probably... Then a window opens, but it's probably a window you won't see stream either. Do you even see the air ups? I not see the other window there. This is why window capture isn't really working for me. Yeah, you can't see it. Too bad that screen capture isn't working. Not working. Window capture is, but I'm going to have to see if I can get OBS to display some other windows. Let's see. Air ups. This window is called Air ups. Okay, so now you can see this. See both of these. Okay, now if I... But there was a way to show the actual unit. Apparently that doesn't work. Or not here anyway. Yeah, maybe I'm going to have to try to stream other operations from at home where I can do screen capture. It'll work from there, but I'm gonna keep on going here tonight. Just gonna have to try to get it on screen. Anyway, the task is to use our interceptors to intercept the this Shahed 129 UAV, Iranian built unit. Now I clicked contact report and I'm pretty sure you can't see this window either. It's called contact report. Let me try to add this as a source. Okay. It's not very informative, this window, so I'm going to close it again. And our task is now to intercept this aerial vehicle so we can create a mission. Probably the game is going to tell me how to create this mission, but it would be done somehow here. I guess Control F11, new mission, Call it, I can give it a name, we can call it, probably cannot see this window either, so I'm gonna have to add another window yet. We'll call it intercept bogey. It's a strike mission because we are going to air intercept type, and then we could select between air intercept, land strike, naval, anti-submarine warfare, naval, anti-submarine, or AS. I guess this is the distinction between naval and land-based anti-submarine warfare. Not quite sure. Or is this? This is anti-submarine warfare and this is anti-surface. I'm not sure. There is a distinction here somehow. Anyway, for us it's air intercept. Status is active, I suppose. And then we're going to open the mission editor window, which you probably can't see either, so I have to add this as well to my sources. Call it mission editor. Wonderful. Okay, now in the mission editor, I will send 2 fighters, we'll leave that. Then jettison or bring back air-to-ground ordnance as per loadout. We don't have any air-to-ground ordnance anyway. I suppose I don't know what the loadout is of the aircraft. I could check in the other window. Minimum number of ready strike. Is this aircraft required to trigger mission? I suppose maximum number of flights allowed to fly mission, minimum maximum strike radius, radar usage, use mission, con for whole flight pen. I don't think we need tankers, just for a simple intercept. Attack method. Can't select anything here. Aircraft settings, ship submarine settings, no, aircraft settings. Mission triggers and context menu. Unassigned units. Here we can assign units. Wait. Those are ready. Warning, some aircraft on this mission. Does this show up? No. It's another small window you can't see. There's a small message box telling me. This is very annoying. I can't stream like this in the long run. I have to find a solution to this problem. I have to figure out how to stream my screen, my entire screen, on this laptop. I think it has something to do with permissions on the graphics device. Anyway, the small message windows window tells me, warning, some aircraft on this mission will not be able to take off due to flight size restrictions. To rectify this, you can change the flight size of the mission or add more aircraft to the mission, or change loadouts on existing aircraft so there are enough aircraft armed with identical loadouts. Mission: intercept bogey aircraft F-16, etc, etc, etc. Okay, and then the important part comes at the very end, and it says number of aircraft 1 is lower than the minimum flight size 2. Okay, so it's no problem because I was intending to add a second aircraft anyway. Now we have 2 F-16I Falcon Sufa. They are armed with anti-air Python 5 Light 004. Light 004 is the name of the loadout. So apparently aircraft have different loadout types which are numbered, and they have like a code name. So Light 004 is basically an anti-air or an intercept type loadout. Another loadout could include iron bombs or satellite or laser guided bombs, and then it would have a different name and a different number. So obviously the loadout or the aircraft would be used on a land strike mission rather than an intercept mission. Okay. Those aircraft are ready. Target list. I don't know, can we select the target? Right. Oh, okay. So we can select the target that we already have on our map and add it to the target list. So I'm gonna go and do that. Then there is no save or create button. So I suppose this mission just exists. Way I just defined it. I'm gonna close this, and if I reopen the same window, I can still see this mission, so it's saved. Let's unpause the game and see what happens. I'm gonna hit F6. So now you have a huge portion of the screen is black. This window, what happened to this window? The window is gone. Selecting, I'm trying to see my aircraft, see what's going on with them. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to switch off the source. Selecting my airbase. Now you can't see this window either. Because apparently windows in this game, every time they open, they get a new identity, and then Streamlab is unable to find them. I'm going to use a different method for OBS to recognize the windows, so that it just looks for the title, not the ID and everything. So maybe this will work better. Now you can see that two of my airplanes, two of my F-16, are assigned to this mission. But apparently nothing has happened. It doesn't say that they are taxiing to the runway or anything. So I'm not quite sure what's happening. The game is unpaused. The target here on the map has changed course, I can see that. I have an update on the target. Tells me the speed. 68 knots, the course is 236.1 degrees. But see if OBS recognizes the window because I open. Okay, now this works. Ah, okay, now I see. Okay, so plane 1 and 2 are now taxiing to take off. Their status changed. They're on a mission, intercept bogey. Time to ready, 1 minute and 56 seconds. I still have to understand exactly when the game pauses by itself and when I have to actively pause it. See if I can change this window's position. See a bit more like this, I'm not sure. I can also increase time compression. And there is game options. There used to be sounds, music. I toned it down last time because it was a bit too loud. Now it sounds a bit weird. I'm ordering aircraft to take off and I can't hear anything. Although that would probably be realistic when somewhere deep underground, in a command bunker, some staff officers assign some airplanes to a mission. All they can hear is their laptop humming in front of them, rather than an engine of an F-16.
Tactical. Buster 2-1, negative radar contact.
This game, I think, would be better if we had some sound. I see my system sound was turned off. Okay, should be better now. Okay, the two planes have taken off. Let's see what happens if I hit F-16. Okay, on the airbase itself, I now only see 4 F-16. So let's see how can I get a... Yeah, I can click the planes on the map. Still pretty slow. Because now I'm at speed 2 and they're barely moving. But here we can see their speed, we can see their altitude, their heading, and now I haven't told them anything. I haven't assigned them any flight level, I haven't assigned them any speed or anything. I just created a mission, as you just saw, and they're taking off and flying basically on their own. Now a new message appears that you won't be able to see. going to close it and open the message log. Hopefully you will be able to see it this way. Yes, you are, but the problem is it's very small in the bottom, and I think there is no way for me to enlarge this this message. What happens? No, I can't. If I right click on the message, there's nothing I can do. But the message says, now that your airplanes are in the air, how can you destroy the target? The best way to engage an airborne target is using an air-to-air missile. There are various types of AAMs, air-to-air missiles. So here is a short guide. Missiles from the attacker. This makes engagement with cannons or infrared homing missiles easier because of the minimal lateral target movement relative to the attacker, and the fact that the hot engine exhausts are pointing directly at the attacker. Wait. I think I missed something somewhere. There are various types of AAMs, so there is a short guide. Missiles 101. Rear aspect and stern chase. A missile that can engage a target aircraft only when it is flying away from the attacker. Yeah, I think I skipped a line or two. This makes an engagement with cannons or infrared homing missiles easier because of the minimal lateral target movement relative to the attacker, and the fact that the hot engine exhaust there are a lot of grammatical mistakes. The fact that the hot engine exhausts are pointing directly at the attacker. Okay, so the concept is stern chase. One aircraft behind the other. And the attacker is behind the target. And of course, he can use a missile that can see and follow a heat signature. Of course, because then the hot exhaust of the attacked aircraft are pointing towards the sensors of the the pursuer, basically. The other aircraft that's trying to shoot down the aircraft in front. Similarly, if you want to use cannons, it's easier to attack from behind because you can react to a change in direction to lateral movement of the target. Alright. Let me lower the music sound level a bit. Might be quite loud. Okay. Okay, so infrared seekers' task of tracking the target is much easier this way. These are usually old short-range missiles. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's basically the first missiles, air-to-air missiles that used infrared. They are very capable of doing this job, but they don't have a very long range. Now, all aspect. A missile is able to track a target no matter which way the target faces relative to the missile. All aspect missile can be launched against a target in a tail chase engagement, in a head-on engagement, a side-on engagement, from above, from below, etc. These are usually newer medium long-range missiles. Okay. Yeah, all aspect missiles, I suppose those would be modern infrared missiles that have more sensitive sensors that can track or find an enemy airplane from a different angle or from a different position other than being behind the target, or from radar guided missiles that can see or sense a target from other angles other than being directly or more or less directly behind it. That's all aspect. You can engage a target from angles other than only being behind it. Now, off-bore sight is a different method. Helmet-mounted display systems allow the pilot to aim weapons at targets that are off-bore sight from the line of sight of the aircraft. So, bore sight, a bore is basically, the bore sight is basically the sight that is parallel or identical with the direction of a gun. So if you have a gun on your aircraft, either in the wings or in the nose of the aircraft, the bore sight would be straight along the direction the gun is pointing. So an off-bore sight aiming method would be, you can aim a target that's outside of the extension of your gun. If you were to look at along the barrel of your gun that's mounted on your aircraft, you would have bore sight, and if you're looking anywhere else, it's off bore sight. And with a helmet-mounted display system, basically you have an electronic system that tracks the movement of your head as a pilot, because it's linked to the helmet, and it notices when you turn your head and you look 20 or 30 or 60 degrees to the side and up or down, and then it'll aim this way wherever you're looking as a pilot. Then basically the pilot's face is the aiming system, or is the aiming geometry. The missile can be launched to a point beyond its seeker limits to then start an autonomous target search. So that's basically aircraft hostile to each other or flying behind each other or on top of each other or next to each other or any other relative situation that you can think of. And then the pilot of one aircraft looks at the other aircraft that's off his bore sight, outside of his cannon's aims, and fires a rocket, and the rocket knows, okay, so let's say the pilot is on top and to the right the target, and he will look down to the left at the target. Fire the rocket will notice, okay, the pilot who fired me off is looking to the left and down. The rocket will turn to the left and lower its altitude. And then after a certain time, if it cannot identify a target, according to this text here, it could start an autonomous search. It could turn on its sensors, whatever it is, infrared, radar, and start seeking a target on its own. Using cues from the aircraft radar, a helmet-mounted sight, or off-board targeting data, the missile can thus undertake engagements in a 360 radius around the launch aircraft. This sentence is telling us the missile that is fired off with this off-bore sight system can then receive targeting data either from its original aircraft, from the radar system of the aircraft, because this one is bigger and more powerful and thus more sensitive, so it can feed to the rocket new targeting information. It could be video information from the helmet mounted aiming system, or it could be targeting data from off-board systems. And that would be, for example, something like these Notion systems that we have on our airbase. It's like an airborne radar system with an even bigger radar and even more sensitive systems than the fighter aircraft systems. And yeah, that's obviously a much more powerful way to fire a rocket or a missile and find the target. And the next paragraph talks about active homing. Active homing uses radar system on the missile to provide guidance signals. Typically, electronics in the missile keep the radar pointed directly at the target, and the missile then locks at this angle of its own center line to guide itself. Passive homing. Infrared homing is a passive system. Homes in on the heat generated by the target, typically used in the anti-aircraft role. Track the heat of jet engines. This means of guidance is sometimes also referred to as heat seeking. Okay, so they distinguish between two homing systems. One is active homing and one is passive homing. Active homing is the most important example here is radar, because then the missile actively sends out signals, receive echoes of those signals to generate its targeting data. Passive homing, no active signal is emanated from the missile, but the missile has sensitive sensors to receive outside signals to then generate its targeting data. We have semi-active radar. Semi-active radar homing. Semi-active homing systems combine a passive radar receiver on the missile with a separate targeting radar that illuminates the target. Since the missile is typically being launched after the target was detected using a powerful radar system, it makes sense to use that same radar system to track the target, thereby avoiding problems with resolution or power and reducing the weight of the missile. Okay, so semi-active radar homing is basically you're using the enemy's radar against himself. If a plane flies and uses its radar to generate targeting data for itself, or maybe just for navigational purposes, it is already sending out a signal. Then a semi-active radar homing system just uses that radar signal to find the target. Okay, and obviously this allows you to save space and weight on your own weapon, which you can use for a more powerful motor or for more fuel so your missile can fly further. Semi-active radar homing is by far the most common all-weather guidance solution for anti-aircraft system, both ground and air-launched. It has the disadvantage for air-launched systems. The launch aircraft must keep moving towards the target in order to maintain radar and guidance lock. So basically, the pilot of the shooting aircraft has to accept a risk, because he has to keep the enemy targeting him. Although if the enemy switches off his radar, then this type of missile would lose guidance, unless he could switch to a different sensor or to different targeting data from any other source, be it an onboard system or an outboard system, whatever. But if the launching aircraft isn't being targeted anymore, then there is no radar emissions to follow for the rocket, or the missile, I should say. And okay, and I mean, it's understandably no pilot likes to hear the beeping sound of his own radar warning. He doesn't like to be targeted and illuminated by another fighter aircraft. But that's what those semi-active homing radar systems need in order to work properly. Okay, what else do we have? Last sentence, this has the potential to bring the aircraft within range, shorter-range IR-guided missile systems. Yeah, it's just a increased risk for whoever is firing this semi-active radar homing missile. And then we have mid-course guidance. These missiles can be guided during the flight before the terminal guidance. This means that during the flight the missile will get updates on the target position and will react accordingly. Terminal guidance refers to any guidance system that is primarily or solely active during the terminal phase just before the weapon impacts its target. Now we can open the database and search the weapons of the F-16I Sufa. These airplanes today have the Python 5 Light 004 loadout. So they have 4 times Python 5 times 20mm Vulcan burst. I suppose that's an autocannon. Or maybe a short-range unguided rocket. We're gonna have to look that up in the database. And 12 times chaff and 10 times flare. So chaff is basically a radar decoy. I think it's more. It's probably a bit oversimplified, but it's basically you drop or chuck out some stripes of aluminum foil or some other type of metal foil. Like small pieces of stripes of metal foil that will create a radar echo. And then flares is a different type of decoy. It's a decoy that generates a heat signature that's different and a bit brighter, a bit more intense than the one from your jet engines. So you generate a decoy in the infrared spectrum with flares, and you generate a decoy in the radar, in the electromagnetic invisible light spectrum. Chaff. Chaff and the flares are defensive systems used to defeat incoming missiles. Chaff are used against radar-guided missiles, while flares are used against heat-seeking missiles. So the only offensive weapons are the Python 5 and the Vulcan. The Vulcan is a Gatling cannon. Okay, so it's a cannon. And the Python is a short-range air... POH. Air... Not quite sure what POH stands for. 95%, a very lethal weapon. Probability of hit, I suppose. 95%. A very lethal weapon rarely misses guidance. All aspect. High off bore side, mid course, plus passive infrared terminal guidance. The key is Control Shift F9 to bring up the side doctrine, MCON and WRA window, so you can select your airplanes and key control up to unit doctrine. Okay, so Python 5, the rocket that we have, is a short medium range missile. Looking in the database, where is the database? Database viewer. I don't think you're going to be able to see it yet. Hey Soraya, nice to see you. Yeah, it is a bit of a crazy game. I agree. It's I mean, it's some people probably will dispute that it's even a game, especially since apparently professional military officers are using it for training, so it might be on the very edge between a game and a professional tool to train tactics, modern tactics. Let me add new window so you can see the database. Can you even see it? database viewer. It's not in my selection of windows. Strange. Maybe I have to open, let's see, aircraft, country, Israel. Okay. Just scroll down, F16, A, B, C, D, I. Can I add it now? You can't still see it. Ah, this is so annoying. Try this again. Nope. I can't show it to you. I have no idea why. So far I was able to add every other window to the stream. That's a shame because that's one of the more interesting screens of the game. Why isn't this bloody full screen capture working? It's just, what was it? I had to do something. Yeah, there was something I had to, because laptops have two graphic cards, basically. They have an onboard graphics card, and then they have the dedicated graphics card. Yeah, but this is... I can't do this now. Yeah, there was a way to show the full screen capture, but this is super annoying. Okay, now let's just move on. I'm gonna close the database viewer, it doesn't matter. Let's forget about it. The important fact is we have those Python 5, they are short range and medium range, and they are terminal guided, which means that basically first it will fire them off, or the pilot will fire them off looking at the target or towards the target. The Python 5 will fly that direction and then eventually switch over to an infrared heat-seeking sensor. And then they talk about doctrines. A doctrine basically is like a rule book or a set of rules according to which aircraft or whatever tactical system we're talking about in scope of this game, how they will behave in a certain set of circumstances. Maybe let's go into this a little bit in more details. So if we hit Control-Shift F9, bring up the side doctrine, MCON and WRA window. In the WRA page, you can set the parameters of the various weapons. Titan 5 has a high probability of hit, so by default, only one missile is allocated per target. If you are engaging a high value target, you can change that, allocate more than one weapon. Firing range is another important parameter. By default, the missile will be fired at the maximum range. This is useful if your enemy can shoot back, but at maximum range the probability of hit will decrease and you may miss your target. As the UAV is unarmed, you can reduce the range to 2.5 or 10 nautical miles. Now you are finally ready to engage the enemy UAV. You can do that by pressing F1 and clicking on the target. In this way, the F-16I will attack the target automatically, or you can hit Shift F1 and then click on the target to conduct a manual attack. Wait, okay, so one key combination is Control-Shift F9. That's to look at the doctrines, and Control F9 to bring up the unit doctrine. So they differentiate between side doctrine and unit doctrine. Side doctrine would be Control-Shift F9 and unit doctrine would be Control F9. They talk about probability of hit again, so we don't have to fire our weapon at maximum range. We can conduct a manual attack, which would be so if we click on the target and press F1, then the unit will automatically attack, and if we press Shift F1, we could manually, basically we could be the pilot. Let's unpause the game. We are still fairly far. What's the white? Pretty sure they explained this somewhere, but the white, I guess this is the max extension of their, probably the red circle is the visual range of the pilots of these units. It's basically how far these pilots can see. And the white circle, I don't know, maybe that's how far their electronic systems can find a target. Not quite sure. This is interesting also. I see that here we have some information on the geography. Slope 0%, 1%, and the land is open shrublands. Barren, sparsely vegetated. Croplands, that's agricultural lands. If I move my mouse pointer around, grasslands, get some. But the planes are automatically flying towards the target. Now let's try this out. If I hit Control Shift F9, game pauses and I bring up a window that's called Doctrine and Rules of Engagement for Side Israel. Okay, so for side, let me see if I can bring this window on the screen for you guys to see. I'm going to add a window. Window capture. We'll rename that to Side Doctrine. I think this window I can add so you can see it. So here we can see the doctrine for the entire site, for pretty much every unit operating under Israeli sovereignty, basically. So, do not use nuclear weapons. Okay, they start with the spicy stuff first. Air operations tempo is surge, etc, etc. So they have a lot of like detailed settings that we haven't gotten into yet for the most part. Engage in vigorous
Contact.
Oh, I think I thought the bring up this window would have paused the game, so I think we just missed basically completion of the mystery. Scenario is concluded. You will now be presented with the evaluation of your performance. I think what happened in the background was that this flight of two F-16 flew towards the Persian or the Iranian drone and engaged it, shot it down. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, I hope. But let's see what the scenario evaluation says. Triumph 100. Final score 100. Loss and expenditures. Losses. Expenditures, we fired off one Python 5. And the enemy side, Syria, lost one Shahed 129 UAV. Scoring log at on February 25th, 2018 at 12:09. Score changed from 0 to 100. Recent event action, 100 points has been fired. For a scoring graph, etc. Okay. I suppose that's all of it. It's not very interesting or exciting at this point. Basically, all we did was we readied two airplanes. We created an intercept mission, assigned two airplanes. They took off automated, flew towards the target, and engaged it automatically. Kind of missed the most important part because I had a window open. But it's not that difficult, I suppose. I mean, you work through the scenarios one by one. I think I'm gonna do next scenario right away. Or less, let's go to the main menu. Which you'll probably not be able to see. I don't think you're... it's crazy with all these windows, but let's see. Start a new game, tutorials, air warfare tutorials, flight tutorial, realistic detection, flight tutorial for anti-air warfare, realistic detection, does it say? Realistic detection and intercept. Okay, so this was, first we did a simple air intercept, now we're going to do a realistic detection and intercept. But you can't see this, unfortunately. I can't show this, at least not when I'm streaming from my laptop unless... Can I... This is crazy now, I have like 30 different window captures in the list of sources for my Robia Studio. I'm going to add another one. Yeah, this works. I can show the scenario. So the difficulty is actually the same. I wanted to show you this. So for each scenario, apparently they have a difficulty and a complexity indicator, and then a year in which the scenario is supposed to be taking place, and then some introductory text. Hello and welcome to the flight tutorial. This is the fourth in a series of tutorials designed to teach players the fundamentals of airplane operations in Command Modern Operations. In this tutorial, the following topics will be covered: detecting an airborne target, shooting down and evading target, airplane damage, chains of war feature. Created by Andrea D, aka Sir Andrew. Note: aircraft damage is used in this scenario. Aircraft damage is a new feature released with the Chains of War DLC and is not available base CMANO game. Wait, do I have it? To use it, you need to buy Chains of War and another DLC, or another DLC that supports it, like Shifting Sands. Wait, I don't have Chains of War. I think. Can I load it? Do I have it or do I not have it? To perform the request action, you need to license for the product below and the product packet to obtain a license for it. And then I have to go to the Steam store. Get it. So apparently I don't have this DLC. Okay. Okay, in this case, I think aircraft damage is pretty important, so I'm gonna have to get it. But I can't get it on Steam and get it to work and everything. So I'm gonna have to end the stream here. Unfortunately, I would have liked to continue to show you guys some more gameplay and some more tutorials. But I think I have to fix a few things. I have to get this DLC, and I have to fix my streaming. I have to figure out how I can stream the entire content of the screen, or I have to stream from my other computer, because this way is super annoying. I have to go back into OBS Studios and keep adding windows. This is crazy. This is not how streaming is supposed to work. So I'm gonna have to go back and, you know, use my brain juices a little bit to come up with a better solution than this improvised streaming that I'm doing right now. But you can expect me to come back with more Commands Modern Operations and the rest of the tutorials, and I'm looking forward to those streams. So I'm gonna see you soon. I'll definitely be back on Friday with Hearts of Iron 3, so I'll definitely see you then. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good week until